Should the Eagles go all in and try to get Le'Veon Bell?
That's a trick question because the obvious answer is yes, due to his extreme talent. But I'm taking into account what you may have to give up to get him. And what I'm saying is based on that, I'm looking at the Eagles contract situation and I'm going to say no. I'm going to say I think they should go after LeSean McCoy and get him back in Philadelphia. He's 4 years older. He's clearly not the player that Le'Veon Bell is, but he's somebody in 3 of the 6 years he was in Philadelphia, a place, by the way, he never wanted to leave. Chip Kelly forced him out, okay? He had rushed for over 1,300 yards in 3 of the 6 seasons. Now, that was a few years ago because he's been in Buffalo. This is his 4th year in Buffalo. We get all of that. But I think he still has some capabilities. I look at the Eagles system and how he could flourish in that as a pass catcher, not just as a runner. I'm looking at the fact that the Eagles have 19 players under contract through 2020, all right? That includes the Zach Ertz of the world, Malcolm Jenkins, along with a few others. But here's the deal. You got to pay Carson Wentz. I think his contract's up, and I'm not sure, but I think his contract is up 2019. You're going to have to take care of him. And I'm worried about your ability to do so with Le'Veon Bell coming on board, because we all know that wherever Le'Veon Bell comes, he's looking for a new long-term deal, which is what the issue is with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that's why he doesn't want to sign that franchise tag, even though he's going to ultimately end up doing so. I'm just looking at it from to borrow your approach, just looking at it from a numbers perspective, in terms of the personnel that you have, the guys that you want to sign or what have you. Le'Veon, you're going to have to give up more to get him. You ain't going to have to give up as much to get LeSean McCoy.
All right, look, but Shady is an excellent player. He's
not
Le'Veon.
I know that.
I said originally I didn't think Le'Veon Bell, everyone was sure he was going to show up for this. I don't know about that. I said the Steelers should trade him. I mentioned Green Bay first because give Rodgers some play action with Le'Veon Bell, see what happens. Rodgers is not Rodgers anymore. He's not going to be this season because they didn't take my advice and rest him until the bye with 1 or 2 winnable games there. So that's gone. The answer is yes, the Eagles should trade for Le'Veon Bell, and they should not give him a long-term deal necessarily. I believe Fletcher Cox's restructuring was about paying the players they now have. I believe that's true. You do not have to keep Le'Veon Bell. But every now and then it makes sense for a team on the precipice of doing something special to push their chips to the middle of the table for a short-term gain. The Eagles have a legit chance to win another Super Bowl. They're that talented intrinsically, though it doesn't look like it at the moment. And I'll refer you to baseball. I'll refer you to our Yankees, Stephen A. Yankees had Aroldis Chapman. Now, the Chicago Cubs hadn't won a World Series since 1908. They needed a closer. They traded one of the best young players in baseball, Rookie of the Year candidate, Gleyber Torres, to the Yankees. He's still on the Yankees. Yankees signed Chapman right back after the year. But in the meantime, the Cubs won the World Series. They won the World Series. Le'Veon Bell is in a position to help the Eagles repeat as champions. It's okay if you borrow him for 5 or 10 weeks. The good news is, guess what? It's going to cost you a lot less. And the bad news is he may leave after the season. That's a risk you have to take. But they are in a position to do something special. Le'Veon Bell is a special kind of player. Here's an example where you go all in right now. The Eagles should trade for him.
Wait, what would you give up for him?
What you have to. I mean, it's not going to be a first-round pick. You may have to swap a second with a third.
How do you know?
Look, by the time this trade were to take place, another week or 2 at least, you would think, half the season's gone. So what does a half the season rental cost? A third-round pick and swapping a second for a fourth, something like that? Okay, I'll do it.
Here's why you don't do it. Last year, the Eagles were running back by committee. The Eagles had no star at running back. What they had was commitment. Commitment is the problem with the Eagles' running game. The running game isn't about personnel. And so for this team, they just need to get back to understanding that that's the way you get Carson Wentz to produce. That's the way you get this offense to produce. You don't need to give up what it's going to take to get Le'Veon Bell. And I believe Max is wrong. I don't believe a third-round pick does it. Because
I totally agree with you.
Because exactly what you're saying about the Philadelphia Eagles is what Le'Veon Bell is going to mean to the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So there's no way they give him up for that.
Pittsburgh doesn't have a defense. Let's be realistic about this.
But right now, neither do the Philadelphia Eagles.
But it's there. It's there on the Eagles.
But this is what I think we miss sometimes. It doesn't just carry over, right? You heard Doug Peterson talk about Jalen Mills. Mills, who I love, right, have known for a long time. played extremely.
Well, I thought you meant you love him as the football player. You love him as a person. Okay.
Yeah, that's my guy.
Oh, I understand. I'm just
That's my
saying.
guy.
I thought
Right?
you were saying like
He's been taking a lot of heat this season.
Right.
He had his hands full on Sunday.
Absolutely. He's been taking a lot of heat because it doesn't just carry over. He played extremely well last year. I thought he got lucky with some bad balls and some opportunities, but he played really well. It doesn't just happen the next year. This Philadelphia Eagles defense isn't the same.
I said be concerned from a Super Bowl hangover, but it is there. It can be discovered on the Eagles. It's not there on Pittsburgh. It's not going to be there on Pittsburgh.
To get Le'Veon Bell, I believe you're going to have to give up a pick and you're going to have to give up some players. And when you do that and you're the Philadelphia Eagles, you set yourself back. They're not one running back away from making it. This team can run the ball.